Between the Tackles crew at Gillette Stadium coming back at you for some NFL superlatives now that the 2016 regular season has wrapped up. Let's start it out with Rookie of the Year. Who do you guys give the award to?
I'm going with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback. It really kind of comes down to Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott. I think that it's a lot more difficult to play the level that Prescott did as a quarterback rather than Elliott as a running back. We've seen a lot of rookie running backs succeed in the NFL, and doing it behind the Cowboys offensive line makes it even easier.
I went with Zeke just because he jumped in that Salvation Army kettles. I thought that was cool. No, I'm just kidding, but I really couldn't decide. But I like that point.
Yeah, these two guys are, I feel, by far the front runners, and I'm going to lean toward Dak too, just because. Mainly because of that Cowboys offensive line. I feel like it's not that hard to have. I mean, obviously, Zeke had a tremendous season. You can't just throw any scrub in there and have that kind of season. But they do have probably the best offensive line in the NFL. It is easier as a running back to transition to the NFL game. And Dak really came out of nowhere, and he's really saved that team. I don't know what they would be if they had Brandon Whedon or some other rando at quarterback there this year, and they're the best team in the NFC, so I would give it to Dak.
Sure looks like a bright future in Dallas, certainly. And let's move on to Coach of the Year, and I'm going to make an unpopular decision for New England fans. They're all probably going to hate me. I'm going to say Adam Gase, and for a similar reason that you picked Dak Prescott, I'm not picking Bill Belichick, because I think that what Gase had to work with was not nearly what Bill Belichick has to work with. And he got his team to really outperform their talent level and do what they shouldn't have maybe been able to do on paper when you look at who he had to work with. And they went on I know they looked horrible in that last game against the Patriots, but that hot streak they went on, I thought it was impressive. And talking to beat writers in Miami, they seem to really think that he has the team's confidence and things are bright in Miami looking forward, so he's my choice.
I actually like that Gase pick. I didn't even really think of him. I was kind of going either between Bill Belichick or Jack Del Rio in Oakland, but then you saw how the Raiders performed when they didn't have their budding star quarterback, so maybe Del Rio didn't do quite as good of a job as we thought he did, but I'm going to go Belichick. Just with, I know it's kind of a cop-out deal, but just with all the adversity they had to go through this year, especially with Tom Brady missing a quarter of the season.
I'm going with Belichick. He's only won 3 NFL Coach of the Year awards during his illustrious career, and he deserves probably like 20 more. So let's give him this one. He hasn't won since 2010.
Isn't it funny, though, when you bring up adversity, that when you think about, you know how they say some people would die to have your problems, and you should think about how lucky you are? Patriots fans, they should think about that. Imagine what the Cleveland Browns would do for the Patriots' adversity. That's just a side note. I digress. Let's get back to the awards. Guys, biggest surprise. Who do you think?
Matt Ryan, maybe? He's another MVP candidate, and he was kind of at a crossroads in his career where he could either become that guy who has a 90 passer rating every year and either makes playoffs or gets knocked out, but MVP candidate. He led the NFL in passer rating this year. He had a great season, turned the Falcons around. So that was a surprise to me.
I went team on this. I said Miami Dolphins, and really how just the rest of the AFC East shook out below the Patriots.
We're giving the Dolphins a lot of love here. My choice was Jay Ajayi. So hats off to the Dolphins. And guys, lastly, disappointment. I also went with team on this. Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Oof, disappointing. I was personally disappointed, and there were high expectations coming into this season. There was no real reason the drop-off should have been as big as it was. I know Josh Norman left. That was huge, but Kelvin Benjamin came back, and the offense just wasn't what it was after such a great season last year. Just disappointed.
Brock Osweiler was my choice because he received a ton of money and totally stunk.
That's a good one. That's a good pick.
That's all I got.
I went Panthers too, and really just kind of the bigger pictures of the quality franchises, or the franchises that are supposed to be quality franchises, that just kind of fell on their faces this year. Panthers didn't make the playoffs. Broncos didn't make the playoffs. Baltimore Ravens didn't make the playoffs. Cardinals didn't make the playoffs. All these teams that we really viewed going into the year as potential Super Bowl contenders that just did not perform up to expectations, and which has to be really disappointing for a lot of people around the league.
Yeah, for the Panthers to finish dead last in the NFC South,
Terrible.
Really just disappointing, shocking too. But why are we ending on such a bad note? This has been so fun, and then
hey, you're the host.
Disappointment. Hey, sorry. We have more happy things, and also controversial. We have a lot of things NFL related on NESN.com, so you should keep it there for all your news and cool discussions like this.